All right, hi guys. Today I am doing a new battle video, but it's not a real historical scenario. It's just kind of based on ones I've read about. We have today kind of a frontier skirmish between the Ottomans and some Hungarians sometime in the late 16th or early 17th century. So for our armies today, this is our Ottoman force. Now in the scenario I came up with, the Ottomans have probably come back from some kind of raid into Habsburg or territory, and they're now in camp. So I have the central battalion under the command of our Beyler Bey, our Ottoman governor, military governor. He's got his Spahi. So we've got 2 units with lances, 1 without lances. Here's the camp. Now, for the Hungarians, this will be a victory point because we've got the captives. They're going to try and get the captives back, or at least just get the whatever plunder they can get from the camp. Maybe there's some nice silks or weapons or something. But the Ottomans are not pushovers, so they have deployed kind of some vanguards to protect the camp. Probably in a situation like this, they would have, informants to tell them that there's a Hungarian kind of garrison that's come out. So we've got 2 vanguard kind of battalions on the flanks. And in Baroque, I think rules is written, you're not supposed to have mixed infantry and cavalry battalions. For this scenario, I'm not gonna follow that just to see how it works, and also because in this part of the world, in these scenarios, I don't think they quite had a rigid, dichotomy between the two in terms of command, at least as far as I know. Now over here we've got our Hungarian units. We've got dismounted Hajduks. We've got mounted Hajduks. I'm using these Polish infantry as the command. That's the sub-commander. Of course, the clothing is pretty similar, if not the same. We've got some dismounted dragoons, mounted dragoons, and then we've got the commander and his battalion, and he's got 1 unit of lance cavalry, some secular infantrymen, and some other infantry, musket infantry. And over here, we've got another battalion, small unit of Hajduks, dismounted, small unit mounted, and a unit of mounted dragoon handgunners. So for this scenario, I'm thinking that these guys will just be like regular infantry, but they're just a small unit, so they are going to have to move in line to fire. Now the Hajduks, given that they were more kind of skirmishers, I'm going to say that they don't have to move in a strict formation necessarily, but what I'll do is, if they want to fire in like volley fire, they can spend their move action to form a line, and then get an additional shooting die. If they do that, though, they just can't move. Their move is spent forming into a line. And then the handgunners mounted, of course. I guess the point is the Hungarians have a lot more kind of mounted gunners, so we'll see how that works. I anticipate that the Hungarians are going to do a lot more like evade and fire type maneuvers. But yeah. And the Ottomans, I don't think I need to do much more explanation, but, kind of a medium cavalry, that's the point. But they can also fire, so they have bows that they can shoot pretty effectively. If they want to fire and then, kind of charge, they can do that. So that's the setup for this engagement. Zoom out a little bit. One thing I should mention though. So, while the Ottomans do know that there is like a Hungarian party in the area, the middle battalion, they're in column because they're not really ready. So when the units do start to engage, this middle battalion is going to have to spend their initial move forming into line, because I do have them in column, but they're not like in a movement column for the Ottomans. Now the Hungarians that are in column, they are in like a march column. So maybe that looks confusing, but I hope that makes sense. Just the idea that they're in camp, I think that comes across. So, all right, so I'll go ahead and get started with the opening moves, and then I will, jump ahead to that. All right, so pretty uneventful first maneuver. The Ottomans did actually win the initiative, so although the Hungarians have tried to kind of stage an ambush and rush in, this Ottoman sentry unit or battalion did notice them and started to move out. However, because we've got these forests in the way, it's going to really limit line of sight and maneuver for our Ottoman cavalry, especially because they can't quite advance through this forest. So we'll see what happens with that. And their musketeers are out of range. One thing I forgot to mention for the way I'm imagining this location they're at is that the Turks are backed up against a river. So if the Hungarians do manage to push them all the way against this rear table edge, let's see what would be a reasonable, we'll say about 4 inches from the edge of the table is river, even though I don't have a river terrain or felt or anything, but yeah, so they're up against the river. So if they get pushed into that, they're not going to have a good day. All right, so now we can go ahead and roll again for initiative. I think these first few are going to be kind of uneventful, and in this one for the commanders, I've just decided to give them, I think it's average command structure, which means that the range of command is six units, so that would be 36 centimeters, and they're just both going to be reliable commanders. I don't really have a reason to make one better than the other for this situation. So let's see. All right, so that's 6 for the Hungarians and 9 for the Ottomans again. So we'll go ahead and resolve that. And I think what we'll do is since the Turks here have been alerted to the presence of the Hungarians, they're going to start to form up into kind of battle order. So I think I'll start and these guys, but they can't really do much else. They're just going to kind of form up like this. I'm going to say that I'm just going to move this over a little bit. It might be kind of cheating, but they're not, like I said, they're not going to really be able to do much, so they're just going to be able to form up, and that's about it. Just that they're alert and they're ready, but they can't really make any further activation. And now we roll initiative again. Actually, I think I may have been doing this wrong, because I think it should alternate, or nope. Okay, so we do roll for initiative. So I thought it was the person. For a second, I thought there was a person that wins initiative just goes first, and then it switches to the other. But no, you, according to the rules, if I'm reading it correctly, you go ahead and roll initiative. So okay, Ottomans get it again. The dice don't lie. I'm not trying to make this the Ottoman kind of victory. I thought, I kind of gave the Hungarians, I thought, a lot of advantages here, but all right, so they're just going to advance up. They can move 12 centimeters, basically. And I think the Lancers, the Lancers would have bows, but I think what I'll say is, since they have lances, they would get a -1 on shooting dice. So, yeah, if they try to fire, so that's 6. And move 12. Wait, actually, I can't do that because they just activated. So I have to take that back. So this battalion just activated, so they actually cannot, the Ottomans can't move. You can't activate the same battalion twice in a row. So we have to go over here and activate. So let's go ahead I'll go ahead and resolve that and then cut ahead. Okay, so the Ottomans rolled again. They keep winning the initiative. Don't know why. I guess it's just their day today. But this battalion activated, and the Ottomans did accrue their first disorder marker because they had to kind of clip through this wood, they probably could have maneuvered around it now that I look at it, but anyway, so they did get their first disorder marker. They tried to move kind of straight through, but they did have to pass here. And probably if I had more terrain, I would have put more trees here. So anyway, yeah, they passed through here. However, the other unit they're not disordered. I think they should have enough room to kind of wheel and move ahead. And then these guys also, the infantry, the Sekban, also moved up. We've got our commander. He's a Janissary officer, but today he's in charge of this battalion. Probably why he sent them through difficult terrain, because he's a Janissary. Why does he want to be commanding some provincial troops? Anyway, so that's our first disorder marker, and now we'll go ahead and do another initiative. And Oh, okay, the Ottomans got a low roll this time, so they got 3, so that's a 5 total with their +2 bonus. So, and Hungarians. Okay, Hungarians got a double 1, and I think that, boy, it's not their day, and I think that gave them, I think something happens when you roll a double 1. I think that means the general actually like is downgraded or something. So maybe it's in the QRS. What happens when it's a double 1? That's discipline test. Okay, have to see what happens here with the activation. I think it does downgrade the unit, or the commander, I should say. So let's see. All right. Well, I will check this and then cut ahead to tell you all what happens. Okay, so I actually don't think there's any effect. I didn't see anything in the rules that said that. And also, it occurred to me that this would be 2 + 2 would be a total of 4 for the Hungarians. So it would not actually be like a true snake eyes. And the Ottomans got a 5, so the Ottomans went out just a little bit this time. And I think they're just going to do more maneuver for now. Now, as it occurs to me, as we've played through a few turns, the Ottomans keep winning the initiative. But for the Hungarians, we'll have to see how the dice, what happens with the dice. But the Hungarians may actually be in a better position not moving in so quickly because with the way I've got the terrain set up, and I wasn't really planning on this, I thought the Hungarians were going to be able to kind of move in quickly and do like a fast attack. But these trees do kind of block the Ottoman ability to charge. I mean, their cavalry can fire, so that is useful. But as these Ottoman units move into these gaps, that will enable the mounted Hungarian handgunners and the foot musketeers to respond. So hopefully they can do that for them. But we'll have to do another initiative roll. Maybe the Hungarians can actually get some initiative this time. So 7, that would be a 9, and 6. So that would be a tie. Okay, so they're going to have to roll again. All right, that's 4. That's 6. Yeah, that's 6 for the Hungarians, and okay, 11 for the Ottomans. All right, so they're going to move, and I think because we have to alternate activation of the different battalions, so now we have to go over here. But I think now the Ottomans may be in range of the Hajduk muskets. So let's see, they're going to move 12. Okay, and I think we'll have to check range, but I think these Hajduks may be able to fire in response at these guys, because that'll be, how much range do we have here? And again, with the Hajduks, they're not like really in a strict formation, so these guys could kind of come out like that or something. They're going to see the Turkish cavalrymen coming in, and okay, so they're about 12. Let's see, 12 centimeters on the dot, essentially from the well, a little bit over, I think. Let's see how far. Yeah, it's kind of long range, but with muskets, they might be able to do it. So, so they would, okay, so at long range, okay, well, 2 BU would be 12. Long range for us, for the way I've got these figures based, would be 16, and it looks like they are, yeah, it's a little just under long range because it's about 15 centimeters. So they're just not going to get any bonus dice. I think it'll just be 0 because on the shooting table it says 2 BU, you get 1 bonus die. Long range, you get -2. So I think it would just be a 0. You don't get a bonus. So they're going to roll. And I did write up a Hajduk entry in my Setsura army list, so Hungarians may be able to at least disorder these guys potentially, but we'll have to see what happens with that. So we'll go ahead and resolve that shooting and report back in. Okay, so the Hajduk musketry was successful. They were able to at least disorder these Ganulu. Well, in this case, they would probably be Akinji, like the registered kind of raiding cavalry, but anyway. So they were able to disorder these guys. They did get 1 hit, but they didn't inflict any permanent losses. However, you know, in Baroque disorder, as I've learned playing through these rules, accumulated disorder can be really bad, actually, in this game. So their defensive fire was successful. However, that unit of Hajduk, they cannot, you know, do another reactive fire. So that is a factor here. But now we can do the rest of the Ottoman move, and I think they're just gonna not really do anything that's significant because these Sekban are going to advance, and then the other Ganulu light cavalry are going to move 12. I did forget something though, because that was their Hajjuk's first fire, so they can re-roll hits because it's, you know, their muskets are, you know, properly loaded. So let me go ahead and re-roll those just to see if there's any other hits. And no, there's no other hits because we need double 5s, and they only got 1 5 and no 6s, so still disordered. Okay. All right, well, now we'll go ahead and roll up another initiative. Okay, Ottomans get 12, so that's pretty good. And let's see, Hungarians, 4 again, so Ottomans get to move. And I think we have to move the right flank. So we'll go back over here to the right flank and then see what happens on the next movement. So, like I said, this may actually work out in the Hungarians' favor, even though they haven't been able to get their initiative rolls off. But we'll see. Because, like I said, what may be the deciding factor is that even if the musketeers can't inflict a lot of direct losses, they can give the Ottomans accumulated disorder, which does still result in casualties. So that is one factor in the Baroque rules that you know you have to kind of play around. However, at least in this case, the Ottomans can try and rally. The Ottoman commander can try and rally. So go ahead and do that real quick. I think that will be discipline. I think so we have to go to the rally rules, and we'll see if this commander can rally those guys. Now, it may not be a good idea to even rally them because they still have to move through this thick forest, or well, thick in my imagination, and you know, and in yours, just imagine it's a denser forest. So he can rally them, and then they can move again, but then they would get disorder again. So I think the good idea would be to rally them, and then they would take another disorder marker, but they would not accumulate the disorder. It would be, I think, a new marker. If I'm getting the rules right, which I think I'm slowly getting these rules down. So go ahead and do that and see what happens. Okay, so these are actually, yeah, these are Spahi. So these Spahi did pass their rally check, and they were able to move, to activate and move. However, because they still had to pass through this forest, they could only move one BU, and they could only move, and then they were disordered again. But importantly for them, they did not accumulate 2 disorders, which would have caused a casualty. In this case, maybe we could think, you know, like horses moving through dense woods, you know, they broke a, you know, ankle or something like that, potentially, I don't know. However, because they passed through here, I think that will give these Hajduk a opportunity for defensive, for reactive fire. And I think I keep forgetting that reactive fire does take a die away from shooting. No, so I guess it doesn't say in the QRS that reactive fire is a -1. Okay, so for opportunity fire, it is a -1 if it's not a response to shooting. To be honest, I don't really like that in this context, because this warfare period, this region and period of warfare, they would have been fighting cavalry anyway most of the time. So maybe, you know, you could debate that house rule that I'm making, but I'm not going to worry about that, because the whole point of a lot of these guys was to fight cavalry, especially these Hajduk. You know, they were fighting mostly mounted Ottoman cavalrymen. So anyway, but I think I will say this unit is going to take a -1 to their, they're going to be at a VBU of 4 instead of 5, because they are a smaller unit. So they're just going to roll 4 dice, which probably they won't be able to land many hits. And they're also, let's see, long range is 3 base unit, or 4 is long range. Okay, so it's just 3, so they're under 3, so they're with muskets, so they're just gonna, let's see, okay, we got, oh, okay, pretty good actually. So we got 1, 2, 3 hits, so that's actually pretty good. So now the Ottomans are gonna accumulate disorder, so that means they take 1 casualty right away from accumulated disorder. So they're brought down to, I think, what are these Spahi? Should be their value is 5, so they're going to be put down to 4 from accumulated disorder. And now for their discipline test, I think that does not, you don't add the accumulated disorder in that check. Let's see. It's melee, cohesion test, calculate damage hit for every 6 and every double 5, right? Okay, but they were already in disorder, so they still get a -1 from that. And so D6 minus the critical number. Okay, so technically the accumulation of disorder is like added after everything. So they would still, so for the purposes of this check, they're at 5 for right now, and then if they pass, they would go down to a 4 if they, assuming they pass. So that would be 5 minus 3, because that's double 5 counts as one hit. So that'd be 5 minus 3 is 2. So they have to get a 2 or under. Okay, their commander is not attached. And then it says -1 if a unit is in disorder, but the high numbers, you don't want the high numbers, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that's meant to be read. Okay, well, I'll just roll and okay, so 6. So I think even with that -1, yeah, because 6 is always a failure, so they fail, so they take 3 casualties. They're down to 3 damage from that, so they would be down to 2. Now they're down to 1, so that was pretty good. So that pretty good on the Hungarians, even with just that small kind of unit. Yeah, so, okay, so things, even though the Hungarian initiative hasn't been great this game so far, they've been able to inflict damage on at least 1 unit. So, okay, well, we'll play on. I think what I'll do is break this battle into 2 videos, or you know, 2 parts. I think that would be more efficient. So this will be the end of part 1, and then I'll resume playing and continue to part 2. That way we'll have finally a full kind of battle report on the channel. I haven't had a full complete one in a while. So, all right. Thanks for watching, guys, and stick around for part 2 when I upload that.